May I begin by acknowledging the presence of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the great National Democratic Congress, and the spouse who is here. I want to acknowledge the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Alban Sumana Babin, who is here with us. Prof. Nana Jane Opoku-Ajima, the running mate of our flag bearer, my national chairman, all members of the National Executive Committee of the party who are here, the former Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Doa Jaho, who is present, Minority Leader, and all our MPs who are here, members of the Council of Elders, the chairman of the Manifesto Committee of the party, the planning committee of this manifesto. We want to thank you for the good work done. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just begin by acknowledging that we have a task ahead of us come December 7, 2024. And what we are about to do today is to unveil our policies that we want to present to the people of Ghana with a hope that that can inspire our people into knowing that we truly have a plan for our country. Over the last 8 years, what we have seen has been a systematic degradation of our nation. A nation that was on a cusp of transformation has systematically been brought to a level where today hope is gone and opportunities for our young people have virtually vanished. So today we are going to be listening to the unveiling of a set of policies that will bring about some hope for our country again and set this country anew towards restoring our country to where it ought to be. Now, but before I go into the nation that was left for our friends when they took over in 2017, let me just say it this way. That we need to be careful that the competition for power should never become a simple competition between who can promise more. Because if it's an issue of promising, we know we in the NDC we can never match our friends in the NPP. I mean, many of you remember that even as far back as 1992, in that very first election of this Fourth Republic, NPP already started promising this country their capacity to build rail lines from Accra all the way to the northern part of Ghana, 1992. So these are people who are known for easy promises. Because unfortunately their belief is that to win power, you simply need to say anything. So anything that can be promised, just promise it. So a contest between us and them on the back of promises is a contest that naturally we will lose. Why? Because if you have integrity and you have honor, you don't just promise anything for the sake of promise. So what I want to establish before I go into the Ghana we left is that promises are important, but promises based on policies that we want to deliver must be inspired by principles. When principles inspire your policies, you are able to deliver those policies. Now, so when, for example, you say that you want to transform Ghana in 18 months, we know that that's a policy that is not underpinned by any principle. That's a policy that is simply anchored on lies and deception. We know that when you say, for instance, that you want to change this country from taxation to production, you clearly are stating a policy that is not anchored on truth. You are lying, because it's simply not possible in a developing country to tell people that you want to remove taxation and simply have a country that is only for production. It's not possible. Some amount of taxation will definitely continue. When you say one village, one dam, and you know beyond doubt that you do not have that capacity, you are deceiving the people. And that is what we have seen over the last 8 years, that every single one of those promises today have become promises that are null and void. Now, so we want to make a difference, and the difference we want to make is our promises and our policies are anchored on principles. And those principles represent the life of the promises that we make. So, if you saw over the 8 years that we were in power, what it is that we were able to deliver for our country, you must appreciate that it is because every single thing we said, even though we were not perfect, was anchored by sound principles. And those principles were anchored on the respect we have for our people. The need for us not to just tell our people anything because we want power, but tell them what it is that we can truly achieve. Now, so in the 8 years that we were in office, these are some of the things that we left behind for our friends. Even though they came into office and the first thing they did was to tell the country that we left for them a country that was destroyed, a country that was in a mess. But truly, if you go through the record, you know that many governments would actually be happy to find the foundations that we left behind when we left office in 2016. In 2016, when we were living, we delivered for our friends in the NPP a sound economy that was marked by sustainable public debt with a debt to GDP ratio that stood at 55.6%, a stable credit rating of B-, a low budget deficit of 6.1%, a declining inflation rate that stood around 15%. We handed over to them a depreciation of currency that stood about 9.6%. Handed over to them a manufacturing sector that was very strong. We handed over to them 2 massive oil fields that they inherited. Handed over to them a cocoa sector that was thriving and was producing at over 960,000 metric tons a year. Handed over to them a number of significant buffers. And some of these buffers are the ESLA that we handed over to them. We handed over to them Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. Handed over to them a sinking fund. And all these were funds that any government taking office would be happy to inherit. Now, apart from this, we handed over to our friends the most monumental portfolio of investment that you can ever boast of in every sector, whether in the health sector, or in the educational sector, in the energy sector, across the whole segment of all that we had in government. Many people would actually wish that they inherited such an economy. Our friends unfortunately took over and pretended this was an economy that was in chaos. Now, when you take over a country and you cannot even acknowledge what you take over, you lie about the quality of the economy that you had made. Right from the word go, you are in difficulty. Now, so what I want to just close today to say is that our manifesto that we are presenting to you today, just as we have done in the past, is a manifesto that will be delivering to you promises and policies that we know are achievable. The things that we cannot do, we will not talk about. But what it is that we can do, we will elaborate today in order for the country to know the clear difference between the NDC and the NPP. The final thing I will say before I sit down is that no government is perfect, so we accept that mistakes can be made. But what you do when you are in government is to show the humility, which humility means that when you are charting a path and there is a problem, you should have the capacity to acknowledge it and be able to receive the feedback so that corrections can be made. The manifesto we are presenting today is by no means going to be a perfect manifesto. But one thing we can promise you is the humility of the leadership, the humility of John Mahama, the humility of the people who are going to work with him to be able to say if there is a problem, we will be able to receive the necessary feedback and do the corrections in order to be able to deliver for the future. Unfortunately, we deal with people who, even when it is blatantly wrong, even when the vehicle is driving in the wrong direction, they are too proud, they are not humble enough, they are too arrogant to acknowledge it, and they continue driving in that same direction, refusing any feedback, refusing any constructive criticism. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to say more than this, but to simply establish to you that we are a party that makes every effort to establish every policy and every promise we make on sound principles. The principles of truth. The principles our national anthem teaches us, that we need to cherish fearless honesty in all we do. it is only on the back of that honesty that we can truly have a nation that is truly great and strong. Thank you very much.
Of the Ghanaian. We used to affectionately call him General, but these days I call him the Chairman General. Ladies and gentlemen, with a rousing round of applause, welcome to the microphone the National Chairman of the great NDC, the National Chairman of the great NDC, the National Chairman of the great NDC, Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia.
Your Excellency, the incoming President, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Your Excellency, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. You know something? I'm cutting the protocols here, because I charge my General Secretary to establish a very elaborate protocol list, so that if he makes a mistake, I will not be blamed. So I would like at this stage to write on the protocols established ably by the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. But before I proceed, we had a shocking news yesterday, and that was the demise of one of our comrades, Comrade Eric Datsun. Served the party dutifully, beginning from a branch youth organizer, 2 terms constituency youth organizer, a deputy regional youth organizer, a regional youth organizer, and deputy national youth organizer aspirant, and a long-term central regional communications member. Ordinarily, we could have maybe postponed this event, but we've been taught that when comrades are in battle, some comrades will fall, but we fight forward, win the victory, because before we come back to count the fallen comrades. So on this note, we are encouraged to proceed without him. But I'll crave the indulgence of everybody here for us to remember him with just 1 minute silence before we proceed with the rest of the proceedings. Shall we stand up and observe a minute silence for Comrade Eric Datsun? May his soul and the soul of the earlier departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. Revolution has a long way to go, but has come to stay. Revolution has a long way to go, but has come to stay. Revolution has come to stay. Revolution has a long way to go, but has come to stay. Hey! 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 Comrades, since 2017, Ghana has seen the most ignoble degeneration in all areas of our national life. Our economy has collapsed to the extent that we now have introduced new fanciful terms such as haircuts and domestic debt exchange into our economic management lexicon. For the first time in our history, pensioners who toil to serve our country and are entitled to a quiet retirement have had to picket at the Ministry of Finance to demand their hard-earned savings which they had invested in government bonds. The sight of these senior citizens on television painted a rather bizarre image of our beloved country to the international community. Our present government has introduced a plethora of taxes that have visited excruciating hardship and a debilitating impact on our living conditions. Our infrastructure has broken down and many of our roads have been left in a bad state. Our hospitals have been neglected and many projects meant to enhance the quality of our health services have been completely ignored. Our educational system has been destroyed almost completely due to the reckless and the incompetent approach to the implementation of the free senior high school education program after the smooth introduction of the progressive free senior high school education program by the Mahama administration. Many parents have become exasperated as they demand the ever-elusive quality education for their boys. In the energy sector, ladies and gentlemen, the mismanagement has been phenomenal. And Dumsho, that was effectively ended by the Mahama administration in 2016, has again reared its devastating head in Ghana. Underpinning all these setbacks has been the massive corruption, nepotism, favoritism, and impunity that has weakened independent state institutions and furthered the culture of state capture. We have witnessed the most devastating destruction of our environment through improperly regulated mining activities led or aided by government officials. In this manifesto, the National Democratic Congress has provided Ghanaians with clear, actionable and concise solutions born out of our social democratic ideals to address the many problems this country faces today. Our policy of the 24-hour economy has been clearly stated in simple terms to enable everybody to understand and associate with, except those who intentionally refuse to understand. So are other policies that we are convinced will help create the egalitarian society that we all seek for our country Ghana. We assure Ghanaians that this manifesto, which represents the People's Manifesto, provides a solid framework for building the Ghana we want together. We urge you to identify with our manifesto policy proposals and dedicate yourselves to voting for the NDC on December 7, 2024 to reset and build Ghana, to bring it back from the abyss into which the country has sunk. Let us join hands to reset and rebuild the Ghana we want together. Long live Ghana. Long live the National Democratic Congress. I thank you very much, and may God bless our homeland.